Hello, everybody. We're going to have a talk here this morning. I have my Zoom coming up in just about 3.5 hours. Got to stay up for it. I'm tired from night shift, but an important talk as I'm going through messages trying to catch up. And I get one from my friend Irene. She sends me a video. I know you don't have time for videos. You have to watch this. So I go, okay, I watch it. And it is clearly a South African gentleman who goes into absolutely all about this evil Somalians, evil blacks invading Canada. And he goes into in great detail exactly what Jagmeet Singh is talking about. Canadians, Ontarians, you're talking to somebody who has gone through absolutely all of Africa. Absolutely. Every nation. I'm one of probably very few Canadians, besides absolute professors who have specialized in that their entire career. But I can tell you all clearly, I know every African nation because I went for independence for the province of Alberta. I built a party on that. You're not going to find another Canadian who is an expert in independence and sovereignty to form a nation. Africa, unlike anywhere else in the world, was most devastated by the most colonial powers in the history of any continent ever seen worldwide. Now, damage to the first peoples of South America and absolutely North America can't be matched. Africa went through a doozy, but they were able to resist the disease. They weren't wiped out the same way. Now, with all that being said, Africans are still a majority. Let's talk about real myth busting and how absolutely patriots don't fall for this stuff. It's by none other than the UK. I am going to explain to you all right now, for the first time you've ever heard it, from someone who has absolutely been through entirety of Africa. Now, there are still some nations in Africa fighting for independence today, still fighting. But of the 52 nations of Africa, many have won and fought for their freedom. Somalia is one of them. Did you all know that Somalia was a former UK colony? Absolutely. Just like Canada. Unfortunately for those Somalians, they were brutalized like no other, besides the First Nations of Canada, brutalized by the British, just like the British brutalized Americans and the American Indian. Americans fought their War of Independence. But what you all need to know is in 1945, America, still fresh enough to remember the War of Independence, absolutely set rules in this world. It's called the UN. You're not your enemy. No, they're not. No, they're not. That is a propaganda given to absolutely all of you so that you don't look to your politicians. You blame a monster called the UN, who all these agendas come into your country. They're called non-binding, meaning the allies who set the world laws said, don't sign this, and your Canadian politicians sign it, because one of the colonial powers still tries to manipulate all of their colonial empires former. Did you know the massive immigration of what you're all calling blacks, this evil scourge, which I watched on a video some of you are sharing? What Jagmeet Singh is actually talking about is 100% fake. Somalia won its independence, everybody. They're way past Canada. Whether you like the way those people live in Somalia, they have a strong constitution. They have a country. They may be poor, and that's because of the absolute world multilateral exploitation of their region. This is much the same for all of Africa. No continent in the history of the world has taken so much abuse of a peoples than Africa. They're just lucky they resisted disease and they weren't wiped out. They're still a majority. But did you know since 1961, after breaking from Great Britain, because Great Britain, which is UK now, was forced absolutely by none other than the Allies from World War II, said, give up colonialism or you'll never be a UNSC. You're going to be a regular country with no power in this world. You'll be in the General Assembly with no power. And of course, King George VI agreed. And he went around the world to all his colonies, removing UK. There's still leftover problems in Somalia. But for the vast majority of Somalians, they don't wish to leave Somalia. Do you know who likes to immigrate and come to Canada and other colonial countries? All of those tied to the UK. Absolutely to the UK. UK is our sovereign in Canada's constitution. The mass immigration from all these countries comes from all of France dealings and all of UK dealings in their former empire. They're still, with their mighty ties, still using Canada as a drop center for all those part of the loyalist Great Britain. Still today, there's leavings, there's leftovers, there's people, there's fews that want in some of these nations to come to Canada, and others are happy with their independent nation and they'll never leave. That's Somalia. I can go through many African nations. This invasion crap is a complete lie. It's your politicians, foreign influenced by none other than the UK. And we're going to get into that. I've already tagged Joe Biden and Africa in this post. Joe Biden and Russia in this post, Vladimir Putin. I'm going to share it on Twitter. I'm going to keep hitting the UNSC reps because it's absolutely true. Linda Thomas Greenfield knows Africa inside and out. She's great in human rights. I'm just as well through Africa as she is. I'm going to share that video. Thank you, Irene. That's important. And Canadians, watch what you get involved with, because when you sell these narratives, this is what people like Jagmeet Singh get to use against all of us, painting us with a brush. I have nothing but admiration and respect for Africa. They've gone so much further in creating a Pan-Africa and Africa Union. I'm in their symposium with China tomorrow. I have learned so much from the African nations, more so than I would ever learn in a million years from Canadian scholars and experts that reside in Canada and have positions from the Canadian government. You're all absolutely being lied to. That is a fact. But it's by none other than your Canadian government, all of your provincial politicians who fill up their back pockets with absolute foreign interests. Be leery of Australia. Be leery of New Zealand. Be leery of Germany. Be leery of UK. Be leery of France. I can go on and on to all the colonial empires of World War I and II who destroyed this earth for hundreds and hundreds of years. Irish, Scottish, it goes on. These are all my family ties too. I have taken unbelievable amounts of time and energy into reading. I spent 2 years so that there was no way I wouldn't know a country of its origin and where it comes from. I wrote an excellent Oxford paper. I know a lot of you didn't want to read it, but it's in plain speak. It's just going tremendously well throughout the world and through scholarly circles. I don't try to make great words or make it complicated because I want it to be able to be translated to all those countries. Well received by the Permanent Five, which is where I sent that. That's all I truly cared about, where it would go. It's giving me some aspects into UK, and that's working out just well for me. France, obviously Russia, China, and USA. USA's always been good to me, but now I'm really getting out there and other nations are waking up to pay attention. India has woken up to pay attention. I'm really following their international news organizations, one in particular, which is another excellent source like Bloomberg. I know a lot of people say, oh, this is left or this is right. Oh, why are you following that? I follow the truth. I follow the truth and absolute research, and I get that. I can tell you a majority of Somalians have no wish to come to Canada. The ones who come here are tied to the UK from that old colonial system dating back to 1961 when it was broken. Just like right now, Hong Kong transferring back to China, and UK is trying to get as many of those citizens to take them from China and redeploy them. This is colonialism, you guys. This is illegal in the world today. And Russia and USA are starting to go, hey, wait a minute. Wait just a minute. Now they're seeing. They're seeing for the first time in many, many decades. We can't keep battling communism, blaming communism for all the problems. That's not the case in Canada. We don't have a communist problem. We have a crown colonial problem that led to World War I and II, a travesty on this earth today. In Canada, you're taking it all in because of your attachments to colonialism in your constitution, your absolute lack of sovereignty. It's in the constitution. You give your sovereignty to a foreign nation who uses you like a dirty tissue. This is wrong and illegal. It's been illegal worldwide since 1945. I'm the first to bring it to light. I'm the first who's absolutely going to expose it, and I also know how to destroy it. That's the great gift I'm going to give to all Canadians. This video is very important. Get off the racism card. No Christian supports that kind of talk. I'm sorry. I believe in Jesus. I really do. That's my God, my belief in God. That's just me. I'm not saying anyone's got to follow what I believe in religion, but that's what I believe in. And the history of Jesus is about love, not racist antics and absolute lies that will destroy you. Canadians, when you talk like that or you're sharing videos like that, you give credence to everything that people like Jagmeet, Singh, Justin Trudeau, and Erin O'Toole say about you. And then they're allowed to continue in full crown colonial power. These videos are traps. They're traps sent out to you, to trick you, to lie to you, to get you to bite into that carrot, and it's not a carrot. Poof, it turns into something you don't want to have your hands on. And then you get everybody taking pictures, the media, the government, and then they get to paint you as something you're not. Don't be a fool. Share this video. Get it out there. Don't be a yellow chicken. Because I can tell you your country's lying to you. And I can show you Somalia. I have a ton of experts from Somalia. Most African Somalians of that country, and it's a country in Africa. They got 52 of them. They want UNSC power. They have a Pan-Africa and Africa Union. They've gone further than most nations, group of nations on this earth. Russia and USA are waking up to it. India's doing the same thing. They're growing. Canada's going down the toilet. You don't even have sovereignty. You don't even have we the people. You're living in a system that's been outlawed for 70 years. I know Canadians don't know this. I know you don't, but it is reality. Most of the world knows it. Only a handful of nations remain going, what are we doing? And others that aren't even addressing it, like Canada, New Zealand, Australia. These aren't terrifically awesome countries. They are low population countries with tremendous resources that world powers exploit at will. That's the only reason why you have any kind of wealth at all. It has nothing to do with you and your citizens, because you don't have you the people in constitutionalism. I can show you great regions all over the world with a heck of a lot less than what Canada has, and they're doing 10 times better than you. Now, they may not be as wealthy because they don't, like I said, they don't have the resource base, but they have the strength and soul of a people. They have sovereignty of a nation, self-respect. We have zero. We give it away. We give it away. Now, I've shared with all of you World Constitution Day. The hashtag, the website, you can go on there, you can look. We have the Magna Carta in the USA in its original for all of you to view. It's in a museum. The curator of the museum, massive American scholar in constitutionalism, who goes around the world collecting all of the constitutions in the world in their original documents. I have lunacy and liars because they mimic our politicians. It's really actually the politicians' fault. And then they don't want to address it, so they come up with Bill 10 from Alberta, C10 for Trudeau, his version, to limit all of you. So we don't want you to know too much. We don't want truths getting out. What does that remind you of? Oh yeah, Kim Jong-un. There's all kinds of despots, autocracies, dictators that do these kinds of legislations. There's all kinds of countries in the world in a despot, autocracy, or monarchy that gives you all kinds of written freedoms. Unfortunately, the monarch, despot, or dictator, or autocrat, like Canada, gets to administer them, meaning they give and take them away as they see fit. They legislate against your freedoms all the time, making it cost you money to be free. This is Canada. This is not the same for a lot of nations in the world. I can tell you that right now. And I can tell you the best experts in the world say those with the most rights and freedoms written down are usually the ones that don't even get to have them. Because it's all about what's in your constitution. It's all about what the rules of governance are. And to begin with, in Canada, the introduction to Canada's constitution is not we the people. That means not Canadians, not First Nations, not nobody. Not nobody. Goes on, there's no supremacy of God, meaning when we say that, it means whatever you believe to be your God. Whatever that is for each and every one of you. You don't get to dictate that on people. That's not religion. That's cultish. But in Canada, they give the divinity, the God power, to absolute human beings inside a crown. Your prime minister and all your premiers, those are your gods. That's not the same for most of the world. I've given you every constitution translated to English in the world today. Start looking at them. Find out where you are, Canada. And Canadians, you know what you're going to find? You're one of the worst countries in the world today, in the top 40 worst countries when it comes to rights and freedoms and democracy. You're in the lower threshold. And politicians only get more and more brazen as the years go by and keep taking more and more from you until there's not going to be anything left. And one day you're going to wake up in an absolute mess. And it's coming sooner than you all realize. And making up stories about other countries, or blaming the UN, or blaming billionaires, or blaming everybody but your politicians who have full authority over every aspect of your lives and how they navigate the international world. And what that is in Canada is fill up your pockets as fat as they can get. There's no accountability, no rules of governance. You're the politician. You run the police because they're sworn to you. You run the military because they're sworn to you. You run the lawyers because they're sworn to you. You run the judges because they're sworn to you. And then it goes into some higher crown powers. Again, outlawed worldwide, but it's never been amended since 1952. King George walked away, he pulled the UK, but he died before any real constitutional amendments could be done. And the Liberal Party of Canada and the Conservatives of the day made a secret deal to assume that power for themselves. And since that day, they all get it. And now all the parties are learning. They all fit in. Can have a multi-party system, but what does it matter if they're all absolute autocrats? We are only one nation with multiple regions with zero constitutions. You're not going to find that when you go around the world with countries with regions. Look at Russia, USA. We can go on and on through a whole bunch. There's There's quite a few regional countries, countries with sub-regions. They all have constitutions. I'm working on that right now. The division of powers. That's the work I'm doing. But regardless, you can go through every UN state and every country that's not in the UN. You can read all their constitutions. And you're going to find that it's Canada and a handful of others that absolutely run the NWO because they're pure evil autocrats. That's your constitution. If you want that to end, you want to end all that, you have to elect the CCP. That's the party I'm building. You need somebody to win prime minister, and they can absolutely destroy the crown, meaning every province and territory would automatically lose their ability to ascend bills. Because with the appointment of our own lieutenant governors, sworn to you the people, no premier or legislature, all the MLAs in Canada, every province and territory, not one bill will be passed. Nothing can be administered because at the end of the day, the Constitution says, lieutenant governor stamps it. They don't stamp it, it don't go. You can appeal only to court. And guess who runs the courts? Oh yeah, Superior Courts, highest court of the province. That's through lieutenant governor too. Supreme Court of Canada. Oh yeah, that's Governor General of Canada. That's appointed by Prime Minister too. You don't even need a majority. I have mastered the Canadian system. I know how to finish King George VI's work. I only need Prime Minister in a minority government. I don't even need a majority. And all those saying, oh, but the other parties will vote and then the Governor General is going to have to hold an election. No, they won't. We'll have appointed the new Governor General, and they're not going to stamp that off either. There's no escape for the filthy, corrupt politicians. This work has been done. I'm a builder. I have the best experts legally in the entire world, nation by nation, most of the nations in the world. After tomorrow's symposium, I hope to add China to that list, and I think I might just, because for the first time, they actually allow me to enter one of their hosted forums, and I expect to even get more African nations. That's what happens when you go out on the world stage and you're honest, you're who you are, and you represent the people of Canada, and you speak in absolute truths. You don't lie, you don't show fear, you show courage, conviction, and strength. There are many nations in this world. None of us are alike or aligned in many, many issues, but it's about respect and being honest with yourself and what your country is. And that's what I did. I went out for truth. And you know what? The best minds in the world understood and they heard the call. And I only grow. I grow stronger and stronger internationally to give you all the truths as they are. If you don't want to be an immigration dumping ground, we have to address the source of the loss of our sovereignty. I've done that for you. We give our sovereignty to the UK. You can trace the mass immigration, sorry to say, to your corrupt politicians, absolutely federally, all parties, every single one that's held that office, and absolutely every party that's held premier. Absolutely can chase it to all of them. They are the ones bringing in the UK's beck and call. And another province takes in France's colonial throwbacks of all those citizens that they don't want to lose. They're loyal to the crown, even to this day. And I can go through decade after decade and prove every immigrant where they come from and how they got here and why they came here. Because somebody else is trying to usurp another nation's sovereignty. Isn't that something else? Is China the bad guy? Sure. They got some bad things in their closet. But you know what? Canada's worse. We have worse things in our closet. And the longer we lie to ourselves and the longer we point the fingers at everybody else, you only destroy yourself on that world stage, and the world continues to hate Canadians more and more and more. And then the creepy, corrupt politicians in league with foreign nationals with their own interest that does not benefit Canada or Canadians or the First Peoples in any real way whatsoever. In fact, it's the opposite. They're the ones getting you to fall on your face, walk out there in mass voice, acting like lunatics when the world doesn't run the way you're told, and then people start really hating Canadians. It's why we're under trade embargoes, certain level of sanctions by many, many nations in the world, and the worst being the P5. A number of them hate our guts. But if you see that there's people like me there that were able to see past the propaganda, go through the veil, so to speak, and come forward, and you get tremendous respect for that. Not the least which is the United States of America, bipartisan. Obviously, I have more Republicans. I've always been a libertarian. Obviously, I'm going to mesh with the Republican Party so much more. But you know what? The Democrats are coming around too, and it's not so bad. A lot better than what we have here in Canada. I urge you all to share the video. I'm going to finish my coffee. I'm going to get ready for the ICC. First Canadian, not a bar, who's going to be in with the ICC this morning, 9 o'clock. And I see my video hasn't shut down. I hope there hasn't been any breaks. My Zoom should work good too. I noticed different parts of this apartment, my bars go up and down, but it's the same outside, man. Toronto is unbelievable. I can't believe the lack of infrastructure. It's disturbing to say the least. But you know what? Alberta, that infrastructure was put in so very long ago, and it was done by the Social Credit Party. I remember growing up in the AGT for Alberta, and it's interesting how so very different Canada is when you go across it, and the things I'm learning, I'm physically seeing them. When you're reading stuff in books or so many papers, and then now it just visually comes out for me. I have so much more to do for so many Canadians, but we're going to get there. Thanks. Have a great day, everybody. Share. Super important video. I know it's early and there's not a lot of people on, but it'll come around. Bye now.